Hey, 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 hey. Oh, I better take some tea. Hi. Pardon me, Susan Lazar Hard here with your transformational, motivational moment with, I guess, a lot of tea as well. Thanks so much for joining me. It's Monday, and that means it's time for our transformational, motivational moment on the Congruent Living Facebook for creatives, for seekers. Susan Lazar Hart here, your host, inviting you to living in the energy of congruence in which everything is harmony. And I'm inviting you today to play with this question. Are you being in service to the path, your path to fulfillment? Now, that's one of the things we talk about at the Congruent Living Academy, which we just had a huge discussion on that. So I thought, well, let's bring it to the peeps here at the Congruent Living Facebook. What does being in service to your heart's desire to being fulfilled actually mean? Service, I know, has a bad rap. I've talked about that before. It has nothing to do with being less than, right? There's a modality that I was involved in this. You don't want to be a servant to something. Well, it's not about being a servant. It's about being present. So we all have dreams and desires that we long to achieve. Are you willing to be present with those dreams and desires? Or you just say, yeah, I want to do that, but, right? Butter is the thing you put on your toast. So, what does that mean? Let's start off with the very first part. What does being in the question create for you? Being in the question means curious, being open to exploring new possibilities without needing to have the answers or the solutions. Most of us were taught, what's your question, with the idea that you better have an answer for that before you ask a question. Like I used to ask my mom something and she'd say, I can't believe you don't know that. So I stopped asking questions. Right? I stopped being in the question. I started to mimic the way that I was being brought up, thinking, oh, that'll help me get along here. And how many of you do that? How many of you have done that? And whether it's with your government, your home that you live in, your relationships. You go for an answer and you bury your question. You try to give the answer you think is the right answer. Well, that's not what we're about at all here. That's not erase. When we're in the question, we're able to access our inner wisdom, our intuition, which, if you're willing to listen to it, will guide you towards what truly resonates with you in your heart, your heart's desire, your longings. What are you longing to create? Being in the question allows us to explore different perspectives, challenging our own assumptions. Will this work for me? Does this align with my values? It expands our understanding of ourselves and the world around us and the universes around us. Like, so what is this all about? And then be present. Don't rush for an answer, just be present with that. It creates a sense of curiosity and wonder as we explore new ideas and possibilities. It also creates a sense of vulnerability as we let go of the need to mimic the way we were brought up, to have all the answers. And it allows us to be actually present in the unknown. Being in the question can create a space for growth, transformation as we learn about ourselves, because we're always learning about ourselves. It's a journey. There's no end point. Now, what does being in service to the question we're asking mean? Well, being in service to the question means being willing to explore the questions without needing to have all the answers or solutions. It means honoring your word to you. I'm in service to the questions that I'm asking. I'm really asking this question. I really want to know, right? Universe, my guides, tell me, right? Be present that you are not alone in this space, in this universe. You have your own guides. They're archangels, all kinds of influences around you, giving you information all the time. Oh, I got a thumbs up on that. Yay. So when we're in service to the question, we're guided by that inner wisdom. And like, for instance, I was asking questions about writing this for you in a way that will give you the information you've been asking for and create greater. And as I'm doing research and all kinds of stuff, and I'm getting caught up in the research, and as I'm writing down the research, my left hand goes and knocks over my green smoothie filled with blueberries right all over the rug. I started to laugh and I was asking, okay, what was I asking for that this showed up? right? And it's not asking from a place of like, oh, I'm wrong. It's more like, okay, there's a message here. My hand just all of a sudden went dunk. And it's like, the message was, you know, like how many of us get caught up in research to find an answer when we already know, intrinsically know from our heart what it is that's being asked of us, right? We learn to trust those answers, and that the answers that we're looking for will reveal themselves to us. And remember, an answer is not an end game. It's information, and it will shift and change as you do. And it's about being willing to explore the unknown without judgment. Now, this process of inquiry can help us to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and our desires and where we are in this, who I am, who I be in this universe, on the planet, and beyond. Being in service is also being committed to take actions. You ask a question, you get an awareness. Now, what's my first step here? Notice there's no answer. What's my first step here? Right? Like I was asking, okay, what is it that people are wanting today with being in service to the question? Oh, I actually know that. I don't have to go off and research it. It's like, everywhere that you were raised, as I was raised, that you just don't know enough, right? If you only knew enough, you'd get the right answer. Would you be willing to just let that go? Big breath. Yeah. Much more space, much more space. It's being willing to step out of your comfort zone and be in the question. Like ask a question. So what was that all about? Oh, stop the research. Overall, being in the question means being open, curious, committed to your process of growth and self-discovery. And it means trusting your intuition and being willing to take action towards what you truly desire, even when you don't have the answers. So, what's the biggest common myth that people may believe about being in service to the question that they're asking? Lots of people believe that asking a question is a one-time process, and that once you've discovered what you truly desire, I've got all the answers. Well, being in service to your questions is an ongoing process of self-discovery and growth, as we just mentioned. So as you evolve and shift and change over time, so do your desires, your longings, your discontents, and the questions you ask yourself. Would you agree on that one? Can I see some thumbs up? Hearts? Yeah. It's important to continue to be curious and open-minded and stay in service to the questions you're asking throughout your life. Like I'll just show you. These are all my questions that I ask, all these little sticky notes. And when I do my meditation and then I do a little workout in the morning, and I'll look at them and I'll like, which of these is still tugging at me? And I'll take them off, throw them in the garbage, did so this morning. And then I'll ask myself, okay, is there anything else that's being asked of me today? Right? Because the questions that you come up with come from that innate being, that spark that chose this body for this human experience on this planet. So you're not alone in the questions that you're asking. They're coming from deep within. And that's why I say, be present with you. Acknowledge the journey, and acknowledge that the journey is even more important than the destination. Because we learn, we take in, we evaluate, we let go of. It's all a journey, right? So I'll use myself again as an example. I never knew what I wanted to be. Like everybody was off going to what they wanted to be. I never really knew what I wanted to be. I just knew I was a seeker and a creative. You would find me as a little child drawing chalk on the sidewalk or cutting paper or writing a poem and painting journals and all kinds of just creations, taking in the information that I was perceiving that actually shifted and touched my heart, and then producing it in a creative way. And then, off I went, and I was a potter, a jewelry maker, a painter, a printmaker, shifting into, my body is like, okay, these toxins are actually working for me. Now what else can I choose? Let's go investigate different ways of being, which led me into coaching, into body work, into energy work, into channeling. And it's an ongoing journey. And so I just knew that this reality and the way that people were with each other and the beliefs that I was taught never worked for me. And can anybody relate to that? Did you come in here going like, what? This is not home for me, right? I know I came from somewhere else. This has to be different. Well, what happened for me was I came across, as I did my research, research, right? And started investing and investigating in transformational thought leadership. I came across people like Elizabeth Gilbert of Eat, Pray, Love, who speaks about the importance of being open to curiosity in her book, Big Magic, Creative Living Beyond Fear. Deepak Chopra, Joe Dispenza, who speak about the importance of living in the present moment and being open to the unknown, on mindfulness and meditation. Brené Brown, who speaks upon the importance of vulnerability. Eckhart Tolle, who we all know, author and spiritual teacher, talks about living in the present moment, letting go to the attachment to the past and the future, again, in teachings on mindfulness and consciousness. And so what I found for myself, which I would love to invite you to, is when you're in service to the question of your life, right, of being alive, it allows you to discover infinite possibilities that exist beyond the limitations of what you already know, because there's always more. So how does all this relate to living in the question of what you desire as a powerful tool for feeling like you're creating a life of fulfillment? My letters are getting jumbled up. So when we ask ourselves questions like, what do I really want? What do I want? Right? Who am I being today? Who do I want to be today? That would actually bring me closer, more congruent to the life I'm asking to live, to who I truly be. What would make me truly happy is a great question. So when we ask these questions, when we're in service to the question, it means you're not going to, when you feel or hear or are aware that you're actually acting in a way that is bringing in what negates who you're asking to be and what you're asking to be, stop. Be present with that. And ask yourself, does this actually align with who I came here to be and what I came here to do? Is this honoring my fulfillment to being in the question of my life? When we do that, we actually open ourselves up to new possibilities. It's just about being present with that, taking a couple of breaths, being really present with these questions that guide us to what we truly desire and living a life we love. So whether you're clear on what you desire or still figuring it out, remember to stay curious and ask yourself some of these questions we've talked about, and allow your heart to guide you towards what truly resonates with you, and trust that the journey towards your desires will unfold in its own way. Again, if you're puzzled, if you're like, I need some more help with this, reach out to me. Either DM me or contact me at susan@susanlazarhart.com, and let's see what we can create together. Because clarity is the gift that we give ourselves when we're willing to be in the question. And remember, life is a journey, not a destination. And living in the question can actually help make that journey all the more fulfilling. So I will love you and leave you with this. If you're watching now, say hi. Ask me some questions. I'm here for you. If you're watching later, #replay. And we're going to shift it up a bit and do some live Zooms with these. If you love that, just say yes, and I'll make sure in the comments below, and I will make sure to include you in these, in the live Zooms that I'll be doing. Because where two or more are gathered, we just create greater, right? Yeah. So I wonder what that could create. Pop in your comments, pop in your questions. I check in every day. Here's to you living a life you love. Live boldly, love greatly, and be that fearless leader you came here to be, because the world needs more of you. That fearless leader that you be by living in the question of your life and not the answer. Remember, this is a journey, not a destination. So have fun on it. Life's too short to sit on the side of your life watching it go by saying, oh, I wonder who I was supposed to be. Jump right in. I'm here for you. I'll catch you. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you next week.